I've been intending this for weeks to be first, so I appreciate this confirmation. I know not to now ask an out of the vortex question, so that doesn't matter. I guess I wanted some clarification because I used to think that I needed to, when a fear came up, I needed to like do the emotional guidance scale and get rid of it. And then recently I heard you say that it's not your job to clean up your issues, it's your job to ignore your issues. I was wondering if you could speak more on that.
Well, we were talking about the human tendency to want to get to the bottom of something. And you have to have noticed there's no bottom. Because when you focus on what you don't want, law of attraction just says, well, here's some more. Here's some more. Have some more, have some more, have some more. And so the more you focus upon what you don't want, the more you split your energy, and the more you lock in to those grids that aren't your central grid. And so it's a wonderful realization to come to that. We appreciated your introducing of the word intended. We've been talking a lot about segment intending because we're just going to give something to you straight out. Your question is really asking for it, so you'll hear it so easily. The best deliberate creating is done in advance, not after the fact. In other words, by intending, or what we have called pre-paving, out there where the air is clearer, you can get momentum going that sets things in motion. But if you wait until you've got something that you don't want, and then you're trying to sort of get rid of that, what happens is you get more invested in it than you do let go of it. And so rather than having a knee-jerk response to things, it's like not segment intending, just sort of blundering is a strong word and pretty appropriate, blundering unconsciously into your day. When you sort of just stumble out there and then let whatever comes, and then you get off on a reactionary stance, it's much more difficult. In fact, so difficult that we've been saying, and this may be what you're referring to, just write it out. When something goes wrong, just accept the momentum of it and just write it out and take a nap as soon as possible. Or meditate as soon as possible, or take a walk or a run as soon as possible. In other words, don't try to deal with it. Have you ever tried to clean up an argument with someone? It's not even possible, because they're all smarter than you are, or they think they are. And so just let it go, just let it go. But in advance, get ready for the next. So here's a piece of understanding that we have not defined this clearly before. Your question really asks for it in a strong way. You're going to like this. So you understand the concept of the grid? Sort of makes sense. That I've got this vibrational basis, and when I step into my full power, everything goes better. So here I am, feeling good. And I'm thinking about something that's way out there. Maybe the birth of babies that haven't even been conceived yet, or a relationship and I haven't even met the person yet, or a business that I will have someday that I have not even established yet or prepared for yet. Something way out there in my future. Well, the further out there it is, the more it behooves you to be general about it. Because when you try to be specific about something that you don't have information about, you just get frustrated. It makes you feel lacking. So the more general you are, such as, oh, it's going to be great. I'm going to live happily ever after. I'm so looking forward to things falling into place. I know I'll know it when I see it. I don't have to figure it out right now. Things always work out for me. I'll know what to do when the time is right. I'll be guided every step along the way. Those general statements allow your energy to be clear. And all that is necessary for you to get everything that's in your vortex, or to achieve a grid that allows everything in your vortex to just flow in the perfect timing and sequence, all that's required for that is that you keep a smooth energy pattern going on. That's the power of meditation. Meditation takes you to the most general of pure vibration. When you meditate, you stop thought. When you stop thought, you stop resistance. When there's no resistance, everything can flow into your experience, you see. So the further out there it is, the more general you are. But let's say you're sitting here in this room. You know that you want to be in the chair. You've already defined that you want to be first in the chair. Now it's time to get specific about it. In other words, now something less general, something more specific, such as, I really think it will be fun to be in that chair. I really like the idea of having a dialogue with Abraham. I really like the idea of having a conscious dialogue where we're exchanging communication, where we are getting on the same vibrational wavelength and taking thought beyond that which it has been before. Much more specific conversation. For example, when you get into your automobile to drive somewhere, be present. Get real specific. I'm going to put my hands on the steering wheel. I'm going to pay attention to what I'm doing. I'm going to enjoy this moment. I'm going to engage consciously with other drivers. I'm going to have a sense of what others are doing on the road. I'm going to be at one with my vehicle. I'm going to have everything in my vicinity, in my awareness, whether I'm using my physical senses. You use your hearing much more in driving than you realize. I'm going to use my physical senses. I'm going to use my eyes and my ears. I'm going to be at one with my vehicle, but I'm going to sense intuitively what other drivers around me are doing. That's a really specific conversation that you're having with yourself. And because you're just about to get into your vehicle, it's good to be really specific. You don't want to be in that general sense. Whatever will be, will be. Things just work out for me. I think I'll take a nap while I drive up to Stanford.
So as you're going through your day and a fear becomes activated, is it correct that you should no longer try to clean up an insecurity about yourself or something to just ignore it?
You could go general. In other words, if you catch it early, so you're able to get away from the specifics of it.
But when it's really active and it's, law of attraction is bringing you more thoughts and, the fear's going on,
So there's already a momentum going, and this is the thing that you're helping us to convey. When there's that momentum, what momentum is a grid filling in. So you want to ask yourself the question, from what database are these items coming? In other words, what grid have I got going on and where am I pulling from? And if you've got negative emotion, then it means you're pulling from a place that you don't want to pull from. So now you want to do whatever you can to stop that. If you were watching television, you just push that little button, change the frequency, and get a whole other station. But it's not likely that you're going to do that once you have momentum going with thought. So that's when we'd step back into a more basic place. We'd go general as fast as we could. We'd say things like, I don't have to figure this out right now. I'm just going to let this momentum peter out. It won't last long. I don't have to deal with this now. Clearly, I've got a point of attraction going on that I want to change, but now is not necessarily the moment to do it. So you're stepping away from it, making it more and more general. And then sometimes you can say, I know there's something at the basis of this that I'll get to. And sometimes the basis of it will come to your mind right then. In other words, sometimes you have enough clarity going. If you've stood in your grid often enough, then stepping out of it and into it and out of it and into it and out of it and into it becomes a sort of flexible dance. In fact, that's what we wish for all of you, because we don't want to ever give you the impression that you need to get in your vortex or that you need to always be only in alignment with who you were before you came into this physical body or all that you've become, because you want to sift and sort. Expansion is really dependent upon new information, new opportunity to mold the clay.
I feel like the more I get into the vortex, and then when an insecurity or fear becomes active, I want to attack it and clean it up.
But look at it this way. It's a compliment to you when something shows up strong and sharp and uncomfortably, because it means I have done such good grid work that when something sticks out in defiance or discord with it, I recognize it early on. That's the way we would explain that to ourselves. I'm feeling this in a strong way because who I really am is something quite different than whatever this is. And if you take it as a personal activity of something that you can do something about, in other words, not blaming the other, It's not something that somebody else is doing wrong. It's just evidence of discord that I do not want, discord that I do not have to have, discord that I can move out of my experience with my accord. So this is a really good conversation. Could discord exist if there were not accord? Could disharmony exist if there were not harmony? Could you know what you don't want if you didn't know what you do want? So isn't that we're talking about here, that unwanted thing, isn't it really evidence of something that is a really good thing? Mm-hmm. So don't you want to stop saying, oh, I'm feeling negative emotion, I must be doing something wrong? The contrary is true. You're not doing something wrong, you're doing something right. You're utilizing your guidance. Jerry used to tease Esther all the time because they're driving these big buses down the highways, and nothing more pleasing to Esther than the open road. And every now and again, she'd drift onto those little bumps on the side of the road. Just sometimes she did it on purpose just to get his attention, because she was up there by herself and he was doing something else. So she'd just get it. He always came when the bumps came, because off into the bushes might be next. But when you feel those little bumps, aren't you kind of glad you felt those little bumps? Wasn't it good to recognize that you were on the edge of alignment?